Fantastic Gamer 7, and welcome back to another Create a Sim video here on the channel. This is of course part of the Pokemon to CAS Series 2, and we are here making Lapras, which is from Gen 1. You should be seeing Lapras down in the bottom left corner for those of you who are not as familiar with Pokemon, or at least not all the Pokemon, so that you have like a sort of reference image of what I was going off to create this Pokemon. Now, before I go into talking about Lapras here, I will let you know there is a link in the description below to the Series 2 and Series 1 of the Pokemon to Create a Sim playlist. So if you've missed any, or if you come across this and you haven't seen any of Series 2 or the beginning of... any of Series 1 and the beginning of Series 2, there is that down below. And also feel free to comment any Pokemon that you would like to see turned into Sims. I will definitely look into making them. They may not make it as part of Series 2, but I'm planning on bringing back Pokemon to CAS, but eventually I will want to have a break from it and actually do other things. I have other CAS series planned. I'm actually starting to slowly plan for the next one, but I still have quite a few more Pokemon, so Series 2 is not ending, like, soon, so don't worry about that. But there is another CAS series coming up that I'm already starting to plan, ready to come in behind this series, so I can't say that they will make it into Series 2, just depends on how things go. But I would definitely write them down and keep them as a little note for Series 3. So that's always something to look forward to in the future. So definitely feel free to comment down any Pokemon that you wish to see turned into Sims. Now, with Lapras here, I chose to try to get like that creamy pale tone because of the fact with that underneath section of her. A lot of Pokemon tend to have that, and I use that as a skin color base a lot. In some ways, I wish some Pokemon had other colors that were closer to skin tones to base off of, because it seems like it's always this yellowish cream color. But I'm trying to like have the same colors in the Pokemon, and skin color is a big one, so I do usually try to pick the skin tone based off of colors on the Pokemon, unless the Pokemon literally has absolutely no normal skin tones to choose from. Then I just sort of wing it with what I think would look better for that particular Pokemon. But in this case, there was a sort of close to skin tone color. And a lot of times the water types, I do tend to like them to be paler for some reason. I don't know why. In my head, that's just a thought process I have. That, like, you know, undersea life has paler colors, but that's not really true. But that's just sort of stuck in my head somehow, and I don't really quite know why or how. But, so yeah, that's just my instinct. Not only is it, like, the color on Lapras, but then instinctually I always make them pale a lot of times with the water types for some reason. But anyway, besides that, I will say when making Lapras, I did like how she turned out, but she's probably middle ground. I feel like I have a lot of Pokemon that I've said are middle ground or higher, and I don't have any that's towards the end. I am thinking about actually taking like little images of all the Pokemon Sims that I've made throughout the years, and putting them in order from, like, my most favorite and to my least favorite, which would be really hard, or at least, like, setting columns of, like 5 columns, like, absolutely favorite, like, in between, and don't like, or wish could have done better or whatever, and maybe, like, sort them into those categories. I'm thinking about doing that. Let me know if you'd like to see me actually sort them like that and see if how I would put them personally. But I think the thing with Lapras is, like, as I was making her, I was, like, really, really liking her. But in the grand scheme of things, when it comes compared to a lot of my other Pokemon, I started, like, you know, taking screenshots and stuff like that and looking through some of the screenshots. And that's when she sort of dipped a little bit lower on the like list. But when making her, I definitely wanted to try to give her a jacket that had a grayish tone, or at least a white tone, because I feel like white would have still fit fine, even though that shell is like a gray. But sometimes in Sims, you're limited since there's not a color wheel. And technically, I don't necessarily not mind having the color wheel. I feel like if they brought the color wheel back, it would be fun. But it would be really hard to integrate it in now with so many packs and the fact that so many people do use CC, whether or not it's Maxis Match or Alpha, so I don't really know how that would. The main thing I would love to see a color wheel for is the skin tones, actually. Like, if they brought a color wheel of any kind back, I would prefer it to be for the skin tones more than anything. I could deal with having, like, the colors swatches for hair and clothes still, even though it would make some of these creative sims a lot easier. But, you know, because I could be like, oh, this jacket is really the vibe that I'm sort of going for, but I need it in a gray. Whoop, gray. But at the same time, I don't mind not having a color wheel. In some ways, it gives me more of a challenge for these, so. But yeah, I was thinking about trying to have something that either was a jacket, or looked like it had a jacket, or had layers on it to sort of symbolize the shell that's on the back. And I wanted a lot of blue, so I was experimenting a whole lot with layering and things like that, and I was leaning more towards a dress. Partially because I am actually making Lapras a mermaid, so I was like, though in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter whether they're wearing a skirt or a dress or pants or shorts. Just realistically, it would be easier to grow out your tail if you were wearing something like a dress or something. So, yeah, that was my partial thought process between that. And plus, a thing with the dress is eventually I do go with a dress, but I go with a long dress because that gives me a whole lot of the blue color because it covers her legs and everything, and it shows more blue than it shows her skin tone, which obviously Lapras has more blue. So ultimately I do go with a longer dress, and as you see I have the jacket. It's a white jacket. It does have like green accents, like the lace and the buttons and stuff. I mean, green? Gray. So yeah, but basically just playing around and seeing what, and I went with a pretty plain dress, but honestly, like, Lapras doesn't have anything, like, over the top going on unless you count her Gigantamax form that came in Gen 8. But if we're talking about regular Lapras, she is a little bit on the plainer side, but she is part of Gen 1. Gen 1s tend to be a little bit on the plainer side. Not all of them, but most of them. And as far as her hair, I definitely wanted something that was buns on the side of the head. I didn't care if it was the whole hair was up in buns or partial hair. I just wanted buns that were like more on the side of the head and had the blue color that I was looking for. So that's why I chose the hair that I did, because it had the blue I was looking for, and it was the buns, and they were right there. And they sort of wrap around, so it almost is more fitting that they wrap around like that, because the little ear things on Lapras look like they have like a curl effect or something going on. But yeah, so I'm picking through the tail, and I will say sometimes when it comes to my mermaids, sometimes I get limited on the tails, because some of the tails were not made after the patch and was never updated, or I didn't know they got an update. So some of the skin details overlap some of the tails. I don't think with Lapras that was an issue. I think it was an issue with Primarina, but not with Lapras, if I remember correctly. But basically just getting all blue tail. I did pick a tail that had the white on the ends. It would have been better if it had that cream color that was closer to her skin tone. But yeah, I basically was just playing around a lot with her. I added the little ice belt on the dress because she is an water ice type, so the ice thing made sense. But anyway, I hope you like how Lapras turned out. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with her. It's just, after comparing her to a lot of other Pokemon that I've made in the past, or I've made since her, because I have made a few after her, she's not nearly as high on the list as a lot of them are, but I still was overall happy with her, and I hope you like how she turned out as well. Let me know down in the comments below, and let me know who's been your favorite of Series 2 so far, and again, if you want to suggest a Pokemon, definitely feel free to do that as well. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that lovely like button and all that YouTube goodiness, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!